I never thought I'd find myself in the middle of a corporate war, especially not one that involved family ties and broken promises. But here I am, Nyara Voss, about to strip a woman of her rights in a company she stole from her sister, my closest friend, and honestly, someone I considered family. This isn't just business, it's personal. The first time I met Jillian Wells was at a Christmas party years ago. Natasha, her sister, had invited me along as her +1. Natasha and I had been college roommates, and our friendship had survived the tumultuous years of undergrad and well into our professional lives. At the party, Jillian was charming and confident, the picture of a successful executive. She seemed to have it all, but there was always a shadow lurking behind her perfect facade. I didn't notice it then, but Natasha warned me about her sister's competitive streak. She joked about it then, but I should have known there was a deadly seriousness beneath those words. Fast forward a couple of years, Natasha had built a tech company from the ground up. Her brilliance and dedication paid off, and she was finally making waves in an industry dominated by towering figures and cutthroat competition. She trusted Jillian enough to bring her on as CFO when the company started to grow, which, looking back, was the pivotal mistake. I had always felt a bit of tension between them, but Natasha brushed it off as typical sibling rivalry. Then, when Natasha fell ill, things started to change. She was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disorder. It was heartbreaking to watch her strength wane as the illness took its toll. She needed rest, time to heal, but the company was her baby. At her most vulnerable, she handed over the reins to Jillian, trusting her sister to keep things afloat until she could return. Except, she never really could. Jillian didn't just keep the company afloat, she took over entirely. It happened gradually, almost imperceptibly at first. She made decision after decision on Natasha's behalf, always framed as temporary measures for the greater good. But when Natasha was ready to step back in, she found herself locked out. Jillian had maneuvered herself into the CEO position, and with her charm and aggressive networking, she had the board wrapped around her finger. Natasha was devastated, and I was furious. This wasn't just a callous business move, it was a betrayal of family. Natasha was too kind, too willing to believe in the good of others, even in her sister. She wanted to fight back, but she was exhausted, her health deteriorating. That's when she asked me for help. Not just as a friend, but as someone who could see through Jillian's facade. I needed to understand the depths of Jillian's takeover. I started quietly meeting with board members, subtly probing into their loyalties and perspectives. Most of them admired Jillian's leadership style. She was bold, decisive, and seemingly always one step ahead. They were either oblivious to the underhandedness of her moves or too blindsided by her success to care. But there were cracks. Some were starting to see her true nature, manipulative and self-serving, nothing more than a power-hungry opportunist. Leveraging what little influence I had, I began gathering allies within the company, people who respected Natasha and remembered the foundation she built. It was like assembling a ragtag group of rebels, planning a coup against an emperor who didn't deserve her throne. I knew we had to be strategic, careful not to alert Jillian until it was too late for her to counter our moves. Our chance came earlier this year when Jillian made a miscalculation. She pushed for a merger with a larger company, a decision that could have been lucrative if it weren't for the gamble it required. She overstretched, and suddenly there was growing dissent among the board as the company teetered on the brink of financial strain. It was my opportunity to turn the tide. I proposed a vote of no confidence, a risky move that put everything on the line. If we lost, Jillian would gain even more power. If we succeeded, we could initiate the process to strip her of leadership and restore Natasha's influence. Gathering support was nerve-wracking. I spent sleepless nights calling board members, pleading Natasha's case, reminding them of the company's roots and the values it was meant to uphold. Finally, the day of the vote arrived. The tension in the room was palpable as board members filed in. If you're loving this story, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell so you never miss another one. Jillian walked in with her usual confident stride, but I saw the flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. She glanced at Natasha, who was there despite her condition, fragile yet unbroken. She was determined to see this through. The vote commenced, and I could barely breathe as names were called, each one echoing in the silent room. It was neck and neck for a while, but then, miracle of miracles, the tide turned. One by one, Jillian's former supporters cast their lot with us. By the time the last vote was counted, it was clear Jillian had lost. The moment the result was announced, the relief was overwhelming. Natasha squeezed my hand, tears of gratitude in her eyes. Jillian's face was a mask of shock and fury. She tried to argue, to sway them once more, but it was too late. The decision was final. In the weeks following, we worked tirelessly to peel back the power Jillian had accumulated. It wasn't easy, but seeing Natasha reclaim her rightful place made every sleepless night worth it. We reinstated her as a key decision-maker, and though she chose not to return as CEO due to her health, she gained back the respect and influence she deserved. As for Jillian, she remained with the company for a time, but her authority was diminished. Eventually, she moved on, taking her ambitions elsewhere. Part of me wonders if she learned anything from the experience, or if she's out there plotting her next move. But today, I don't care. Today, I only care that I stood by my friend when she needed me most, that I helped right a wrong in a world that's often anything but fair. So, yeah, a hostile takeover turned redemption, and all that. It's not the path I imagined, but in the end, seeing Natasha's smile, her spirit unbroken, it felt like justice. Maybe not the kind you see every day, but the kind that matters when family and friendship are on the line.